What's next for Princess and Scoundrel in 2024? Let's discuss. Welcome to Princess and Scoundrel, where we take you along our scrappily ever after, from Fantasyland to Tatooine and everything in between. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Steven.
And it's a new season of Princess and Scoundrel.
Yes, it is.
Season 3.
Yeah. I mean, well, no,
Yeah.
I said yeah because it's like, we didn't really like ever say like, this is the next season, but because we started in January, we've
Right.
kind of just like made the new year. Here's a new season. It's time for change.
Right. It's evolved year after year. So the Princess and Scoundrel launched in January 2022. And each year we've been like, let's level it up a bit. Let's level it up a bit. So last year we had a new theme and a new intro, and the set stayed the same, I think almost completely. We may have changed some like trinkets out. But now, if you're only listening to this on podcast, you're not getting the full Princess and Scoundrel experience.
You might be getting a new experience because during the rebuild or the build, there was a mishap, and we have a new roadcaster, a new interface, so we might sound a little bit different. I don't know.
For those of you that don't know what that means, the microphones now plug into a different piece of machinery because we broke that piece of machinery. That's the way I understand it.
Yes.
There were some cords that got pulled accidentally.
I mean, I think there was no limbs lost, so we could all
only a few
safely.
Layers of skin.
Yeah.
But look, let's put the bad stuff aside.
Okay.
I mean, exciting. We got new equipment, but we have a whole new set.
Yes, we do.
That's where we disappeared to for a month in December because.
Yeah. So I had been. I feel like I had been talking about it all year.
Right.
The entire year, I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm just procrastinating. Well, finally, the month of the year that I hate the absolute worst, and it happens to be my birthday month, but I hate the month. Like, it's just chock full of.
Are you even going to say the name of the month?
No,
okay.
It doesn't even deserve it. But it's just not a good month for me.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot. And it's funny because when we watched back our like intentions, our 2023 intentions video, it was just like, I just don't like the month.
Yeah.
But anyways, about the set, I had been the entire year feel like I'm going to do a refresh. Never got time to it. Well, we decided to take the month off and kind of, the kids were home from school.
You've got the holidays.
Family time. Like, there's Christmas parties all over the place. And I took the time. I was like, you know what? This is the time we're going to do it.
Right.
I could take my time. I don't have to rush because it's typically me and, you help along the way as much as you can. But I was like, I'm going to do it this month. And the whole month, just like chugging away, just getting little pieces here and there, getting it done. And finally, we got the set 90% done. And I think it's done, but it's just like decorating and getting things to feel. So if you're watching us, here's that corner wall that was forever just like a black hole. And we've kind of got like a little spacey vibe to it.
But
we have our logo up like a
legitimate podcast. I'm very proud that there is something on this wall now.
Yeah.
The wall is a little bit different. That black wall, that black abyss
I kind of miss it.
Who knows? It may pop up again. You never know. But if you're just listening, we completely revamped the podcast side. We used to have faux brick walls and they were white. And now it's totally different. It's light gray and they're slats.
That's the funny thing is like we've totally redone it, but it was like because it was a complete overhaul of the room.
Right. Yeah. We had
it was like a living room area, and we redid the whole room to accommodate the future plans.
And we're going to get into the future plans a little bit, but I think you're also selling yourself short in that it wasn't that you procrastinated all the way until the last month of the year, because the construction did start, I think, back in November or maybe even October on it. But and this kind of plays into the intentions of last year, build a new set. It's like, well, what do you want it to look like? And it's like, well, we're the clients. What do we want it to look like? It's like, we don't know what we want it to look like. So there was just a lot of decision paralysis and like, well, we could go this route or we could go that route. And so finally, I think it took us months to finally land on a design and then executing it. It does not, you made it look easy. You made it look beautiful. You made it look seamless. But the effort required for each of these slats was so much work.
Yeah. No, so you know, if for us it looks like slats, but you know, if there's construction people out there that know, they're French cleats.
Mhm.
So anything and everything up on the walls can be moved around if
Did
we
you
needed
know
to.
why they're called French cleats specifically? Have you heard?
But because that's how they did them in France.
No,
Uh,
it's because if you put something on the wall, it goes, oh.
Oh, okay.
No,
Really?
somebody told me that
Oh,
joke the
okay.
other day.
I was going with it. I was like, okay. I mean,
Well, I thought you were gonna laugh at my joke.
oh, because I thought it was knowledge that I didn't have. I was
Uh,
like, oh, that's pretty good. Use it for trivia.
oh yeah, use it for trivia.
Um, but no, so it's like a French cleat system, and pretty much everything on the walls can be moved. And you know, some of the things that we wanted to do was be able to have that flexibility.
Yeah.
And so that, and because I have just like that OCD of having things symmetrical, you, if you look at the room completely, it's symmetrical. If you look at like portions of it, it's still symmetrical. Even if it's like different, it's still symmetrical. So the with those, you know, those people that are with me, you could feel at ease that I'm trying to keep everything as symmetrical as possible.
And I think that's probably why it took as long as it did to do because there's so many lines that have to line up all over this room. There are so many different angles. We have fake walls, we have real walls, and so we had new corners. Like there was a lot of math involved. There were a lot of laser levels, there were a lot of regular levels. It was a month of math,
Yeah.
like for sure. But I'm super proud of you and all the work that you poured into this because this was you ultimately came up with the design and executed it. And I was just kind of like, I have hands. What do I hold?
But sometimes that's like the main thing that, you know, you just need that one extra hand. Like, here, hold this way.
Yeah.
You know, hold the flashlight straight.
I painted. I painted some of the walls. But yeah, that was my big contribution was like the little kid helping their dad.
Yeah,
It's like,
no, it was good. I
shine
mean,
the light over here.
there's a lot of other things too, like our rig. I think it was last year that we had it done, but
Yeah.
it plays into the whole thing.
Yeah. And then we'll probably
So
get into like more of the design of the set and just kind of like how it came to be in a different video. But just know that like it has been a labor of
yeah.
love and this set did not look like this
Oh
two
man,
hours ago.
it was you know, a construction zone for sure up here. So
Yeah, we were like, I think even this morning it was like, we don't have the logo. It wasn't even constructed yet. Like you constructed that
yeah,
logo. So kudos to you. Great
thank you, thank
work.
you.
So yeah, we have a new set. Do you want to get into some of the other parts of the set that we haven't?
Uh, no, I think that, well, maybe we'll talk about it after because I think so. We're talking about the month we took off.
Yeah.
You know, that's what this is what we did. This is what we were able to accomplish. But I wanted to go back since it's the beginning of the year, and the year prior we kind of talked about our intentions.
Yes.
So I said, let's go back, look at that episode, and see what our intentions were for this year or for that year, and how we did. Did we do good? Did we do bad? Where room for improvement?
Ooh, and let's set the scene. They were not resolutions, they were intentions. So they were things that we set out to do, and we weren't going to beat ourselves up if we didn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's what we like to say out loud. But in our heads, of course, we're beating ourselves up for it anyway.
I think it's when you face it, which is it's kind of nice because you have to face like this is what I kind of set out to do. This is a goal or this is something I want to do, and either you accomplish it or you move towards it. So then you could continue that, or you're like, hey, I need to wake up and make sure I'm doing that again.
Yeah.
So
A
I
whole
think that's
year
what
has passed.
I think that's what we're kind of taking this as is like hey, these were the intentions. Like, are we going to continue that? Is it going to be modified? Are we going to, what are we going to do?
Level setting for
Yeah.
2024. All right, so let's go through them. So your first one was being more mindful and having better communicating your feelings.
For one, I think I was more mindful this year. Um, in the sense, because we had a lot of things going on uh, in the household with the podcast and your travel was taking off, I decided to quit my job. And that was, this is the first time kind of saying it out loud to everybody, but it was one of those things that I saw that there needed to be an adjustment as far as like uh, helping you, achieve your dreams and, doing taking the kids to school and stuff like that. So there was just like a big shift, and it it was definitely an adjustment in sense when I had my job had I was a lot more in charge, and so you kind of have to like in this type of role, if be a dad or the chauffeur, the cook type of thing, you're kind of like the assistant almost feeling like you're like making sure things are getting done instead of just like ordering, I need this, I need that type of
Yeah.
thing. So
The kids are the ones doing the ordering.
yeah. So I think that was for me like the big, shift for me of just like mindfulness and like really being considerate of other things that are around. As far as communicating my feelings, uh, I'm continuing to get better at that. It's one of those things I'm still working on, and I hope to keep evolving and keep getting better at. But I would give myself like a C.
No. Oh no, I don't want to grade us.
Okay, so no, I
Take that
give
back.
middle of the road. I'm still doing that.
I will say though, I'm very proud of you for making that life change because it is a big decision, and it's not something that you and I have talked about it endlessly, but it's not something that we've talked about publicly, and I think it's been really great, and it's a big scary step that you took. But I'm proud of you for doing it, and I think it's going to lead to great things for us.
Yeah,
So
I mean, so far I haven't,
A plus.
I haven't regretted it, so it's a good sign.
That's good. Okay, so my first intention, managing stress, setting boundaries. Ugh, we're not doing grades. Setting boundaries, I do think that I did a pretty good job of that in the way that I had set out to do it. Managing stress, I actually think I'm not doing so bad at that. I have learned to let go of a lot of small things, and if something doesn't bring me joy, I don't do it. Like I'm okay with saying no to things, and I've learned that if something does go wrong to like take a second and just like step back and say like, is this something that's a big deal that's going to totally tank my day, or is it something that's like, well, that's a bummer that it happened, but let's just move past it. And so I think in that I'm doing okay, but those are just two ways that we can always I can definitely always evolve because man, sometimes when I get stressed out, I'm like but I feel like I've done less and less of that. Like we're improving.
Yeah,
It was We'll keep going,
yeah.
continuing to do that. Next up for you was time management and organization. How do you think you did there?
Again, I think I've done pretty well, um, because my thing before was, I was talking about how trying to manage like playing video games and do the things that I want to do, and I think with the adjustment of the work, I started taking on different responsibilities at the house.
Mhm.
And not to say that I was forced to not do those things or do the things that I wanted to do, but it was just these other things took priority.
Okay. All right. Mine was being more present and not multitasking. So it was more of like being in the moment. And I work a lot of jobs that I love to do. But as a result, that just means that I'm constantly doing something. And so there's always like conflicting priorities. And so my intention last year was if I am working, I am working. And if I am hanging out with like you and the kids, then I'm just doing that and I'm not on my phone trying to look for like content ideas, or I'm not answering emails, or I'm not doing this. And so trying to just compartmentalize, I guess, a little bit better. Failed absolutely miserably at that. I would have pockets of time where I was better about it. But I think as things got busier and towards the end of the year, I just I
I think the
I
hard
didn't do
thing
great.
I think the hard thing is like there's that motivation and of like continuing to do things. And the other, you know, we talked about or we didn't talk about is Star Cruiser closed during, you know, last year.
Yeah.
So that was like a majority of the work that you were doing, and then that closes. So then there's like this kind of void of like, okay, where does that priority go?
Yeah, and I mean, that was honestly like that was a huge life change for me, right? Because when I got into the travel work, Star Cruiser pretty much was announced right afterwards. And so my entire identity as a travel agent was revolved around Star Cruiser, and that's what I was good at and that's what I loved to do. And they announced the closure, and it was just kind of like, oh man, now what am I going to do? But it was still open for a few months. But then when it really closed, I feel like I just felt so lost and I didn't know what to do. And so I've been trying to figure out like and I have amazing clients and they take different types of trips, and we're going on like the community cruise and we're doing these other things. But just mentally, it's like I felt like my travel agent identity was so tied to Star Cruiser.
That travel agent rug was pulled out from under you.
Yeah. And it's like, well, who am I now? And so I think that, and then just because like when you work a normal like my 9 to 5, people know to only expect you from 9 to 5. But then when you have other jobs, you're like, well, I got to sneak in a little bit of work here, and okay, the kids are asleep, so let me sneak in a little bit of work here. Oh well, this person needs this right now, so let me do that. And I didn't do a good job of one, compartmentalizing and saying I'm going to work on this piece from this time to this time, and prioritizing what was important.
Yeah.
And so I am that's going to be a huge focus for me in 2024, is just prioritizing what's really important and knowing when things can wait.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't do so good on that one. That's on next year's list as well. Oh, the next one was me too. Leveling up my sewing skills. So we talked about, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
I like this one because it feels like I took that one.
I mean, fair. You did take that one from me. Because when we talked about it last year, I was talking about how proud I was of Betty Bantha and that it has been washed multiple times in the washing machine, has not fallen apart. And still true, has not fallen apart yet. And I did create a couple pieces. I had high hopes for May, right? Like I was going to make all of my own costumes and all of these things. And then inevitably I get too busy, I run out of time, and I don't prioritize that.
And I better see, I think that kind of went into those other things of like, you didn't have those, you know, those a lot of times where like, hey, I'm going to work on these other hobbies, these other
Yeah,
advancements. So I think it kind of all plays into each other.
interesting. This is like a big old therapy session. But I did make a few more things last year. Not as much as I would have liked to. So I still need to work on that. But yes, you absolutely took off with sewing last year. You
Yeah.
stole my intention and
Yeah.
like ran a marathon with
Well,
it.
well, you know, I think it was one of those things that it it just kind of like there was that little bit of flame that was lit under me, and it was exciting to make the next piece, next piece, next piece. Uh, but again, like with Star Cruiser being gone, that motivation to make more slowed down tremendously.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we still have Mosh Isley.
yeah.
And so like I've got a sewing project right now that of course it's 2 weeks to go and I haven't started. Which is just our status quo, but there's less opportunity for that type of creativity. But you did a fantastic job last year. So well done on fulfilling my intention. I appreciate the assistance.
But what was mine?
Yours was to draw more. How'd you do?
I failed miserably on that.
Yeah, I don't.
But the thing was, again, because I was going to use it as a method of therapy. And I think at the beginning of the year, it was kind of like uh, times were good. So it wasn't a thought of like, okay, let me put these. And I think that's one of those things that I kind of want to take into the next year is regardless of if times are good or bad, like kind of make note of that. So then that way when there are bad times, I could think of good times and not just think of bad times type of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what the intention was with the drawing, was to draw to get that creativity out. And if there was like emotions attached to it, like use that drawing time, that whatever it was, as a therapy
Like a
and
journal, like a
like a
visual
journal.
journal.
And because I'm more visual, but to do it, use it in that way. And I didn't, because again, at the beginning of the year, everything was good and happy. And it was more towards the end where I really needed it, but I couldn't get motivated enough to do it.
Yeah.
So
That's the hard part. Our last intention was a shared one, which was to be more physically healthy.
this was like at least one check mark we
It
could
was like
get.
a free space on the bingo card. Like everybody has it on everybody's bingo card.
Yeah.
Like, but we did decent with it, I think.
I think it was one of those things that
Long pause.
I was able to procrastinate to the very end, and then I kicked ass at the very
Yeah.
end. So I don't I want it to be different. I want it to be more of a long-term thing instead
Yeah.
of just like, all right, let me get there. Like, not the end, but I want the journey to be of be physically healthy instead of the ending of that
Right.
journey.
The
Yeah.
destination. Yeah. So, I mean, we started the year pretty strong. We were making like health shots of turmeric and ginger and all kinds of stuff. But then we started taking athletic greens, and we've taken that for a full year now, and enjoy that. And we've eaten healthy, eaten healthier. And towards the end of the year, we started going more like low carb and cutting out sugars and stuff like that. Um, and then we've actually started working out like in earnest. Like I still have my walking pad, and I multitask because that's the only way I can get in my steps. But we're actually like working out now, and we started doing that at the end of last year. But hopefully, we can continue it through because we've got a cruise in 2 months.
I know. I got to look good for that, for the beach.
Right? Same. So I think that is one thing that we're definitely continuing on into 2024. So shifting into 2024, intentions, if you will, being physically healthier. And I think we're off to a good start on that.
Yeah.
I think.
Hopefully. I'm hoping.
Right. Do you have any other intentions for this year that you want to focus
Um,
on? Are they continuations of
they're
the
going to
old
be
ones?
continuations of the prior year. Yeah, just taking care of myself. I think that's going to be the main priority.
For me, it is it's a deep
It's a
one.
deep breath right there.
It's a deep breath. It's reprioritizing and like focusing on what's really important, because I think I kind of lost sight of things in 2023. I feel like I've been in like a tailspin ever since March 9th or March 18th, 2023, when they announced Star Cruiser, and we spoke about it briefly, but like that was everything that I did, and it truly was my passion. And I know Star Cruiser meant so much to so many people, and I was one of those people. Um and I absolutely loved it. And yes, there is a job aspect to it. I did make money selling Star Cruiser, but I just genuinely loved that ship. And so when the closure was announced, it was like, well, what do I do after that? How do I find something that gives me that joy that selling Star Cruiser did? Because it wasn't about selling, it was just about helping people like go live their dreams. And then it was like this prolonged agony from May to end of September when we're trying to get cancellations and everything. And then it did close at the end of September. And then since then, it's been kind of like, okay, well, now it's really, really gone. Like,
Yeah.
it's not coming back. That door is fully closed now. And what do I do? And so I've struggled with it a lot, and probably a lot more than I think I've ever admitted to anybody. Um, and I feel like I lost part of my identity. And so I've felt really, really lost. And I think because of that, I wasn't focusing on the things that I should have been focusing on. So for 2024, I want to make sure that I'm focusing on one, myself and figuring out like who I am and what I want to do, but two, like our family and our kids. Like our kids are getting bigger and eventually they're not going to want to even like look in my direction anymore. So while they still like me, I want to
Yeah.
like hang out with them more and be more mindful and be more present when I'm with them. And then two, like, well, the big one, the most important one for this podcast is this podcast.
Yeah.
I I love this podcast. I love getting to do this with you, and like you're my best friend in the whole world, and we get to create whatever we want to create. Like how cool is that?
Yeah.
And I don't think I put enough of a focus and enough energy behind it last year because I was sad. And so for 2024, I want to like really dive into it and see where we can take it because this is our podcast. Like
Yeah.
there's nobody telling us what to do with this. We get to do whatever we want. And so if we want to do podcasts every day, we could. If we want to do one once a month, if we want to do more live show, if we want to, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And there's so much beauty in that and there's so much freedom in that. And it's also terrifying. 'Cause like I said, I'm not creative. But I want to put a lot more focus behind this and creating really cool stuff with you.
And that was kind of the motivation for the sets in general, because when we last year we were starting to do a podcast one week, and then we would have a live show on the next week.
Yeah.
So we were kind of flipping between the two. And one of the things that I wanted was to, in the live stream, because it's more casual, it's not so, not to say news reporty. Like right now, us having a conversation, it's just us having a conversation.
Right.
But when it's a live stream, there are people in chat that we're talking to, having a more relaxed conversation.
Yeah. And we call
And
it Princess and Scoundrel After Dark
yeah,
because we have to wait for our kids to fall asleep
yeah.
to go live and be uninterrupted.
Well, and that's the beauty of, like, when you talk about the podcast, is this is our time that we could actually sit down and have just like adult conversations with each other.
Right.
And sometimes it's good because it keeps us like in line, so there's not arguments type of thing, but we could still have a healthy conversation. So it does make me glad that we were able to, we're gonna have more focus on that, have those conversations. But like I was saying, the live set, which you'll probably see in a week or so, but it's more casual, and we're just relaxing, sitting down. But some of the other content that we do is like unboxings. I like to get the helmets and different products like that. So we were kind of like, okay, how do we just like multi-purpose this space? If we're gonna kind of make it our own, how do we multi-purpose it? And I think we were able to kind of do that, which is like super cool.
Yeah.
And have that flexibility with this area. So
Yeah. So the room that we're in it's a rectangle. And so the podcast set has always been in a corner, and we always have covered up the corner of the room because we have like a tiny little door back behind there. But now we've expanded it. And so it's not quite half of the room, but now we have two corners of it. And so there's a completely different look, like it
yeah,
looks like a completely different room sitting right next to us that we're going to be using for our live streams.
yeah. So it'll be fun. I think maybe on a live we'll actually like move the cameras around. So it's just like an unveiling of it. That's in my head.
What
That's
about the symmetry?
in my head, I'm thinking like if we could do that. But again, like how you said,
Things won't line up. It'll be the end of the stream because then we'll be like, we got to go. Things don't line up. Bye, boys. Bye, girls. Bye, thems. But yeah, so it's a lot more flexible, this space now. Everything is on wheels. Like everything can be moved. It's super exciting, and it's been a labor of love. And so to like actually finally sit here in our seats, like we're in the same spot, but it feels so different.
It does.
And it's
like it feels similar, but it just feels different.
Same.
It's a bit different.
And it's clean over here. It has been a construction zone.
That was the biggest, like, we got to trust the process, like, sawdust and screws and nails and everything all
Oh
over the
my
place, and
gosh.
it's just like,
It was a
trust the
lot. It
process,
was a
trust the
lot.
process.
Yeah. But it's worked out and you've done a fantastic job of it.
Thank you,
So
thank you.
kudos to you. But yeah, so I think intentions for both of us and like just what to expect in 2024 is new types of content, different types of content, more of the same. And with that, we are launching a Patreon.
Yeah,
So we're gonna have more options for people to experience different types of content. So nothing that we already share today, the podcast episodes, the live streams, any of the stuff that we share on social media, none of that is going away and getting tucked behind a paywall or anything like that. It's just a place for the community to have a little cozy little space, if you will, to hang out and dive deeper into Princess and Scoundrel and like what it is to make this show and some of the things that we don't necessarily feel are Instagram worthy or podcast
yeah.
worthy. And they're just like little more bite-sized pieces. And so
Kind of like behind the scenes. I think
maybe
that's one of
sneak
those. Yeah,
peeks. So yeah, so there's going to be a handful of things. So we'll run through them and just we're not going crazy with it. It's $5 a month. There's one tier. Like we're like we can't keep up with any of this. Let's just make it super easy. There's going to be one offering and that's it. It's $5 a month. And what you're going to get is you're going to get exclusive Discord access. So we're going to have our own Discord where people can go in there and hang out. We can talk about crafts and costumes and movies and shows and all kinds of things, whatever we want to talk about in there. Sneak peeks at new content that we've got coming up. If your helmet comes in, you've been 3D modeling a lot of things. Like I'm always trying out like new travel stuff and clothes and whatnot. So we'll probably be sharing a lot of that in there, helping us shape future episodes. So polls and feedback and all kinds of stuff that goes into making Princess and Scoundrel. You're gonna get to see a lot more of
yeah,
that. Um, a welcome shout out in our episodes. So when you join us, we're going to say, "Hey, what's up?
yeah.
What's up, subbies?" And then early ad-free access to our episodes. So usually our episodes are ready probably a day before they go live. And so if you are a Patreon, then you a patron,
Patron.
patron. If you're a patron, then you would get early ad-free access to that. And then eventually we're going to have a merch store. And
Yeah,
so if you are a patron of ours, you will get discounts to our merch store. So it's going to be fun. That's launching today. So we will put a link for that in the show notes in the description. But yeah, I mean, it's a new year. Like the opportunities in front of us are endless and I'm super excited about it. I'm excited about the set. I'm excited about Patreon. I'm excited to just like grow as a human being.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I after the month that I had at the end of the year, I am going into this next year like still looking forward, which is I think a good thing. Like I'm still able to, you know, dust off my pants and let's keep going, let's keep moving. And I think that's always a good sign for things.
Yep, I think so. So I think that's a good place to wrap this one up. Like I said, our Patreon has launched today as of the day of this episode release. So if you're interested, the link will be in the description. We would love to have you join us. And we can't wait to show you everything that we've got in store for 2024.
Until next time.